Hi, my name is Dave, and today we're going to take a look at two charming Mogey 3-inch refractors. These telescopes date from 1900s, early 1900s, maybe late 1800s, probably around 1920, 1930, something like that. Would just be a rough guess. These telescopes were designed for different functions. This one was clearly designed for astronomy. It's got an equatorial mount, which is clearly for astronomy. This one has the Altaz type mount, which is probably more commonly used for terrestrial things, although it is an inexpensive version of having an astronomical telescope as well. It came supplied with a terrestrial telescope. This is not marked Mogey any place on the scope, and the only things that distinctively tell you that it is for sure a Mogey are the size. This is 1.25 inches. Mogey is one of the few companies back in those days to use 1.25 inch accessories. This focuser knob, by the way, is very similar to another Mogey that appeared in an article in the Antique Telescope Society Journal. The distinctive exterior mounted hardware here on the tube, on the OTA. So probably it may have been made by Mogey and sold through another distributor or whatever. The dead giveaway, absolute 100% giveaway that this is a Mogey, is the signature on the lens. And here's a picture of the signature. So you can see that this is in fact a real, honest-to-goodness Mogey telescope. This telescope, everything here is as I obtained it. I bought it not too long ago. This, from here on down, is mostly my work. I made the legs, and this actually came with it. I'm not sure if it was original to the Mogey or not. Anyway, it came with it. I'm not sure if the horseshoe type mounting was original either. I'm guessing it was probably came with the scope. It looks like it's all part of the original configuration. Okay, let's take a close-up look at the scope. As you can see, the focuser is not a common kind of a focuser. Here's the mount. It's a completely wonderful and very rare antique telescope. I want to point out that about half of this is original Mogey, and a good portion of it is a restoration job done by me. The original parts of this are here. This part of the equatorial head, that's all original. This is original. This part I constructed. I made all of this, and the tripod head and the tripod. Up here, the tube is not original, but it's the same size as the original, and the original was some sort of a steel pipe, and it was cracked, so it needed to be replaced anyway. Anyhow, this is brass. I decided to go ahead and go with brass. This is original. The tailpiece is original. The focuser is not original. The finder is not original. I had to make those. The tailpiece has the distinctive Mogey logo, and here you can see that in a close-up. So there you can see that it's a real honest-to-goodness Mogey. It's also signed on the edge of the lens. Here's a picture of that signature on the edge of the lens. Very distinctive Mogey signature. And it is absolutely a beautiful telescope, and it's got some of the most unique features. I'll show you some close-ups of the side circles, the way you set the altitude for polar alignment is completely unique. I've never seen another thing like it. So I'll show you all of that stuff here in some close-ups. Okay, let me show you a little bit about how this telescope works. First of all, This clamp up here is styled like the original, but these have hinges on them, and I don't believe the original had hinges on it. I went to some trouble to duplicate these. They're called capstan bolts. Anyway, they're funny bolts. I had to make every one of them individually on my lathe. This is how you move it in right Ascension, and you can't see it probably in the video, but it's slipping here, and down here we have it's a friction clutch. You can probably see it moving in right Ascension. A friction clutch that is engaged with this, with the worm gear and the worm wheel. So anyway, you've got that going on. Okay, this locks the declination. This will lock the right Ascension. In the normal way of operating, this would be to give it a certain amount of slip friction that you could control with these or with this. So you can give it a certain amount of slip friction so it'll slide around, and then when you let go of it, it will engage this. And it's got some very super high precise verniers and even a magnifying glass to look at the verniers here. This is a very unusual feature of this telescope. This Latitude Adjustment system here. This has got a scale on here, and it is marked from 0 to 90, but there's really no physical way you could go to 0 or 90. You might be able to go to 0, but not 90. Anyway, so you'd have difficulty with that, so you could probably go from easily from, say, 30 to 50, 60, 70. Anyway, the way you adjust that, first of all, you loosen this a little bit, just finger tight, finger loose, and then you can turn this. You can probably see it changing, and that's what this little key is all about. And there's an indicator here. I don't know if you can make. I'll show you a close-up of that. Of the scale there. Anyway, it's completely charming. Very unusual. So that's how you adjust the latitude. This is the right Ascension, and it's got this kind of a neat way of engaging it. Here's the worm wheel, and there's the worm gear. And this is completely charming. Charming. You ought to see how that looks close up. Anyway, that's how you turn that thing. But to engage it against the worm wheel, you have to do like that. And now you can probably see it turning. So it's now turning, right Ascension. And you can put this on either side back here if you want to. You can engage easily change the friction here if you want to. Doesn't take too much to make this thing work. Okay, we're looking past the counterweight now, and you can see the, I made all of this. Well, this is an antique protractor that I bought to use as a declination circle. I did make these marks here, and I went to the trouble to make a vernier on that. Not super precise at all. But anyway, it's more or less an homage to the original, which would have been more precise and better made, frankly. Anyway, so this is what I did for that. And let's compare that with the original, shall we? Now we're going to take a look at this delightfully complicated right Ascension setting circle. I don't know if you can make it out. I'll show you a close-up. How exquisitely precise this engraving is. It's very, very fine. And the same thing with the vernier here. Now when you move this thing around, as you can see, we've got some motion in there, but it's very, very difficult to see what the verniers are doing and so forth. So to read this properly, they include a little magnifying glass here. And you put the magnifying glass like so. You hold your eye right there. And by golly, if you hold your eye there, especially if you have some light, I suppose they would have used candles or lanterns back in the day. Anyway, if you have some light, you can illuminate that setting circle and read that. I'm sure probably a fraction of an arc minute. I don't know how many arc seconds, but well within a fraction of an arc minute. So very, very precise reading. And in fact, it's got 2 verniers, one on either side. And this thing is designed so that you can flip the magnifying glass over to the other side. Should you be on that side? Should that be the more convenient side for you? Completely arcane and I don't know, probably not quite as good as digital setting circles, but probably not that bad, probably close enough to get you there. And certainly better than my my replica version on the declination. I hope you've enjoyed watching this video tour of these 2 charming Mogey 3-inch telescopes from the early 1900s. Thank you.